Hi, everybody. Welcome out to the Dice Tower. My name is Chris Yee.
And I'm Joey Evans.
Today we're taking a look at a card-shedding game here from Allplay, who's a sponsor of the channel. So take that in mind as we discuss this. But this is a game called Ruins.
Ruins.
Now, this is designed by someone named John D. Clair.
Haven't heard of him.
Oh, you have not, huh?
I have not.
Okay, let's name a couple of games that the game designer you don't know has done.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Set, bet.
I see what you did there. So this is a card crafting game, like many of the other ones that he's done.
All of them.
There was Pirate Face.
Dead of Reckoning.
That was
you
close.
Were close.
Yeah.
Mystic Veil.
Mystic Face.
Mystic Face. And Unstoppable Face.
Yeah. So this is something he's done in a lot of different games, but this time in a card shedding game. A little bit of a re-implementation from a much older one called Custom Heroes. We're going to show you how this one plays, then we'll give you our thoughts.
This is called a card shedding game where each player will be dealt a hand of cards of different numbers here. And the point of it is to play cards in higher succession one after another in order to empty out your hand of cards first. As you empty out your hand of cards, you'll score points based on the player count setup shown over here. So there's two sides to the board plus 2 and 3 player, a little overlay over here. So if playing 4 players, the first person who's able to empty their hand of cards will get 5 points. The next person will get 3, then 2, then lose 1 if possible. And we'll talk about the winning over the course of the 5 round here at the end. But know that generally you're trying to empty your hand of cards first. So how do you do so? Well, you do it through a few phases. You'll shuffle up the cards, deal them out to everybody, and then everyone looking at their hands gets to do one upgrade. They get to flip one of these cards over to the other side. So if I'm this person here looking at, I have 3 3s, I can make it 4 3s if I turn this 4 around. You do so by, and everyone does this simultaneously, flipping one of the cards around in this card sleeve here. So I've made my hand a little bit better. Now, whoever is the start player is going to play either a single card or a set of 2 or more cards, and everyone else has to try to follow with the same number of cards of a higher value. The same value or higher. If this person were able to play 4 3s, just like me, it causes this person up here to skip their turn, and then we keep going around until everybody passes. This person over here says, well, I can't quite make that happen, so they're going to pass on their turn. It comes to this player up here, and they say, oh, well, good news is that I was able to get 4 7s in my hand, so they play 4 7s, which is higher than 4 3s. So they are currently leading out here. Play passes over to this person on the right, and they say, well, I don't have 4 7s or higher, but this is also what's called a card crafting game where you can manipulate the card values in your hand. So this person has 3 8s, and they also say, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to pay one of my campfire tokens here, turn it over in order to add one of these upgrade cards to a card in my hand and play it out. So because they spent 1 campfire, they grab this little inlay card from underneath the 1 campfire section, slide it into their sleeve, and now this card is not a 3. This is a 3 plus 5, so now they have 4 8s, and they're able to play this out onto the table. So we have climbed successfully from 4 3s to 4 7s to 4 8s. If I don't have a way to play higher than this, well, then I'll have to pass, and once all other players at the table have passed, this person has won this climb, won this little moment here, and so then they'll just discard all the cards, and they get to start. So this might be a moment where they can play some of their lower cards. And this is a way how you try to get rid of all the cards in your hand. When any of these are purchased, these will immediately slide down and refill, and anyone can use their campfires as many times as they want on their turn, so long as the card that they're sliding in goes into a set that they're currently playing. So, for example, what are some of the other effects here? Well, these are plus campfires, so these allow you to refresh previously spent campfires when you play a card that shows this symbol. So if I'd done this, I could refresh 2 of these. This one over here is a +3, and you'll notice also there's 3 different heights of banners, pink, blue, then yellow. No card can have 2 of the same banner card in it. They have to be different colored banners. So there are ones that add numbers. This one over here says that this one could count as a wild number when playing it with a set of other numbers. So this one here, even though it's a 1, I could play it because of this question mark with tens, and I could say this counts as 3 tens. But this does not make it a wild on its own. The other types of upgrades here, this one, this plus card symbol means that this single card actually counts as 2 cards. So if I played it out like this actually is a 10 and a 10, and a pair of wild values added to a group, so this would count as 4 tens. That also has the +2 refresh fires on it. Now at some point you might upgrade cards so nicely and say, this card is great, but I want to be able to keep it from round to round, because after cards are played, they will be shuffled up and redistributed. So each player, twice per game, has these little cards here they can use to lay claim to a card and say, you know what? I, the purple dinosaur player, am going to say that when this card gets shuffled up and dealt out at the start of the next round, if anybody has it, they have to give it to me. So I'm going to start with this fantastic card, but I'll start with more cards at the start of each round, and this person will have 1 fewer. So anyway, that's the general idea of the game. You spend the upgrades. At the end of each round, you'll count up the points and move them forward accordingly. And then everyone will refresh all of their exhausted fire tokens. You'll shuffle and deal out the cards, giving the claimed cards back to the player if they're dealt to somebody else. And then let's talk about winning. At this point, I'm in a winning position here on the board. It says so, spaces 9 and 10. If I were to win by going out first, emptying my hand of cards first, when I'm in a winning position, I immediately win the game. The other way to win the game is that at the end of play, whoever is highest up on points at the end of round 4 gets to play in round 5. But also, let's say that here, purple and blue both have the most points. They're eligible to play in round 5. But let's say that the green player was able to empty their hand of cards first in round 4. They're also eligible to jump into round 5. So the red player is the only one not playing in the final round, and whoever empties their hand of cards first wins the game. So those are the 2 ways to win. That's how you play Ruins.
So first off, let's see. Let's talk about the theme, the artwork, the presentation of all of this here, right?
Yep.
Ruins, they're there.
There are some ruins on the cards.
Yeah, I think it's whatever, right? Some games you just have to put a theme on, I guess, right?
Yeah.
I don't think anyone went, guys, I cracked the code. But I do like the isometric view, right? This reminds me, have you ever played the old computer games like Zaxxon?
Yes.
Oh, man, yeah. With that little, tilted view thing. And it's fun to see as you layer the cards in there, the actual, presentation of what the ruins are changes.
I was so fixated on the game, I didn't see the ruins until the 3rd playthrough. I'm like, oh, we are putting ruins on there. I'm just fixating on the +3, the this, the that. I'm like, oh, yeah.
Oh, and that says something to the game.
It does.
Because you are definitely a theme and presentation, the looks kind of, those appeal to you far more than me, generally speaking.
Yes.
So, for you to not notice that means that you are obviously kind of thinking about the gameplay and everything a lot.
Yeah, because I think the powers are really fun on these, the ones to get, I think it really makes sense.
So, empty out your hand of cards first. Many games do this, right? I mean, going back to ancient card games and stuff.
Right.
So this one having the clear plastic cards being its central gimmick. It was done originally in Custom Heroes. That was actually the first card crafting game with this whole idea of tucking multiple cards in. This is an improvement over the original in a lot of ways, to the point where I would say you don't have to go play the original one. You can look online and find a list of the changes made. So we're just going to kind of review this straight up as is. Did you ever play that?
I never did, no.
Right.
No, it's my first experience for this.
So what do you think about the idea of putting the clear cards in, changing numbers and stuff, as you're trying to shed out your hand of cards first?
Oh, I like it a lot. I like as far as being able to add it as you play it. And then I think it also makes it to where the first round is going to be almost vanilla. You're like, okay, we're just playing it. And then people are going to be like, okay, what? And then towards the second and third, you're going to be, okay, now I feel it. Now instead of the cards being passed out, they're like flopping out. And you're like, how's it go on? When it hits the table, that unavoidable heft to those cards.
That is funny. As you're shuffling them, you'll notice, like, well, this one's a thick one, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, it is fun because even in the first round, you're dealt a hand of cards in a normal card shedding game like this. You say, well, this is what I have to work with. But from the beginning, you have those 3 fire tokens you can use and say, I don't have a 1, 2, 4, 4, 5. I now have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know what I mean? Like, you can adjust your hand in these ways, or you can make really a better example would be multiple of the same number, right?
Right. And it's almost you're building a baby engine because you can like flip those fires, then use something to get those fires back, and you're just it kind of feels good when you get those combos.
I agree. And the things that you do in the first round are going to affect the next round, right? And one of the major improvements of this over the original was sometimes you made a card really beefy, just really juicy. And with this, I love the little innovation that once or twice per game in totality, you can just claim ownership of a card.
Yes.
Say, that one's too good for me to give up. I don't know what my next hand of cards is going to look like, but that's probably going to fit in there really well.
Right.
When a single card is a pair of 23s, you're like, dibs.
It is pretty funny when that comes out. You're like, yeah, go ahead. Just take this round. Yeah. I like the wild, too. At first, the question mark, I was like, okay, it's wild. Why doesn't it replace a number? But then that wild can only match something else. It can't be dropped as a 40,
Right.
Yeah, so that makes sense.
I think all the powers are reined in pretty well. The main negative I think I have is that the way that they are laid out, like the little modifiers on the side there, is that sometimes people play a card and go, I have 3 8s. And you have to be reminded, that 8 is actually a 19.
It is pretty small down there. You can miss it.
Yeah.
Depending on how far down the transparencies it is, or how you fan your cards, really.
I think the last big thing is, what do you think about the end game of this? This is kind of the other wonky part, I think.
That's the only problem with it. Number one, I think the length is, 30 minutes. I mean, you could possibly finish in 30 minutes if somebody runs away with it. But it's a longer game than that. I think that's off. But then, the ending, the scoring is it's a very odd cadence. It's like, okay, then you get this, you're the gold, you're going to have a playoff round. And if someone wins outright, awesome.
Good. Clean ending, right?
And you kind of hope for that. Otherwise, you'd be like, all right, guys, sit down. I gotta explain how this is going to happen. And it's just weird. And then people are like, wait, what? You didn't mention this. I'm like, I know. I didn't want to have to do this unless I have to do this. Yeah,
I agree. Yeah,
it's weird.
Okay, you're at 9 or 10 points. If you win this hand, done.
Right.
But there's a special playoff round for the people who have the most points. And if not for those, then the person who does go out first. It is a clever way.
It is.
So that even if someone earned 2 points the entire game, they could still be in that, that showcase showdown at the end.
And that happened to us. My wife was in last, but she won that last trick. So she was in that playoff, ended up winning the entire game.
Yeah. So it's nice, but it is also odd if you're playing this with, say, 5 people, to look at 2 of the people and be like, your play is done. Watch us now.
Right. It's not player elimination, but it's more, player viewership.
Yeah, it's an odd. I see why it works. I see its strengths and everything, and it's cool that it does pay off sometimes. But it's the most odd part of this game to explain in a game where one card can be a pair of 23s.
Right, which is insane. Yes.
So overall, I don't know. I really like this one. Do you have any other thoughts before we move into?
Nope. I think you've covered it. I mean, really, the dislike is the one thing is it can get long.
Yeah.
At 5 players, I think it goes to 5, right? It doesn't go to 6, right? It goes to 5.
5, I think what is. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
It
a
can
max
get
I've
long
played
with
that
that.
up.
Yeah.
So, all right, cool. Well,
All
how
right,
did you come
so,
down on it?
I'm coming in. It's funny how I had to play this several times because I'm like, I don't know what I think of it. And then I found myself probably played it 8 or 9 times at East. And I'm like, apparently I like this game, So it's just, I am coming at a 7 on this because I like it. I don't love it, but I will play it. It's pretty easy to teach for a very card crafting shedding game, and it's unique. So I really like to show people this card game because it's like, I like the second round. The first round, people are always hesitant. They're like, I don't get it. And then one thing we didn't mention is when you hand out those cards you claim, when they come back to you, it's not punishing because you're getting rid of a card, but then you're also getting a card. That's a really neat little mechanic in there. So I think it has a lot of really, really clever ideas in such a small box.
Yeah, for me, I'm coming in higher than you. I'm giving this one an 8. I've also played it a lot of times and kind of say, okay, where do I fall on this? I would give the original Custom Heroes that is based off of, I would give that like a 7 because it's clever. This one is cleaned up and it has, I mean, those campfire tokens that you flip over to add upgrades as you're playing cards out. It keeps the game having this interesting crescendo of excitement. Because those cards that you're upgrading, you can't claim them all, so they're going to get shuffled up and distributed again. And then everyone has more fun. Even when one person has a really great round, they go out first. They upgraded a bunch of cards. Well, now everyone gets those upgrades later, but unlike in the original one, you do get to claim something so that you can have more to work with. I think that, for me, I tend to like the genre of trick-taking games more than card shedding, of which this falls into. But this is one that I could see really moving up the ranks in that genre for me. I think this is really fun. And like as you said, really teachable, despite the fact that it's also kind of a wacky game.
Right.
If that end game were a little bit just snappier.
That's a big thing.
Yeah.
You just pray for someone to run off and take the lead. Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go. So that's our thoughts on Ruins here from Allplay. Thanks for coming out to this review. My name is Chris Yee.
I'm Joy Evans.
Go ahead and ruin something.
You ruined the joke.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another video from the Dice Tower. Hey, you want to learn more about us, communicate with us? We have a Facebook group, we have a Discord channel, lots of different ways to get involved with the Dice Tower. You can find that in our Linktree link below. So just click that, it will take you and you can communicate with us on Facebook, join our Facebook groups. There's lots of cool things that you can find and become part of the Dice Tower. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Tom Vassell.
A little in.
Why, do you need me to?
I think that'd be good.
Got it.
I like this because then I can look in the whites of your eyes and then I shoot you.
Look at the yellows of your eyes. By the way, you're jaundiced.